Alrighty guys, I'm sure you already know, it is unbox time. I am Lorentzen, the FPV guy, and today I have a pile of boxes here that's kind of piling up. Let's get rid of some of this. We're not going to worry about that today. I want the big one. And this one was kindly sent to me by Frank from carolinadrones.com to take a look at. It's actually, I've been wanting to look at this for a very long time. Jeez, that's packed good. There. All right, well, this is certainly packed very nicely. Let me try to get the rest of that cut. Oh. And, as usual, we have bubble wrap. Lots of bubble wrap. Here's some more. There you go. And since, there, let's pull that out. This is the Iris Plus. So here we have it, the Iris Plus, and what's cool about it is it's an American designed multi-rotor. Let me grab the, here's another box. Here is, this is including a gimbal. So let's get this out so you can all take a look at it. And let me get rid of this box. So what we have here is an American designed multi-rotor. It is built on the back side of this box that I'm reading, advanced aerial video and fully autonomous control in a ready-to-fly package. It also includes a gimbal that, interestingly enough, is not actually an 3DR or 3D robotics gimbal, but a turret. So let's put this all together and see what we get for the money. This is a $750 kit plus the cost of the gimbal, which I believe was $210. $210 is really not a bad cost for a gimbal. So let's get going and crack this open. I'm gonna move this so now you can all see right here. First things first, right on top, we obviously find the instruction manuals, how-to videos, operation manual, how that you really should read before you do anything else. And most importantly, this is basically what I call the cheat sheet. The cheat sheet has all the little things you need to know to set this up, get it started, what the switches means, and also how to do your calibration dance. So with this sheet, everything you need to know is right here. I would hurry up and laminate this, make sure you never lose it. Tie it to the box with the gear you take with you when you go flying. I don't know how best to get all of this out, but let's take a real quick look here. Whoa, I'm surprised that this is not packed more. Here's the radio, which is an FR Sky radio that has been branded as an Iris. And it looks to me like it survived the trip pretty well. In the back here we have the radio. One of the things to keep in mind with the Iris is the switches on top is not actually being used. So these switches just goes in the back position. Now on the front, you have a couple of interesting choices and different from other people using the APM system. Let's start from the one side right here. Up on the shoulder, you see a channel 7 on and off. You can use the channel 7 on and off to start an action. So you can create a mission and save it using the mission planner software. And you can set it up so that when you flip this switch, that's going to start that mission, whatever that is. Next to it, we have a pitch operator. That is for the gimbal to look up and down. And over here, we have the flight modes. That's probably the most important switch to know. When it's in all the way up, you're flying stabilized, which means there's no GPS enabled and basically the aircraft is keeping itself stable. However, if you give it a lot of speed and let go of the sticks, it's going to keep sliding like a frisbee. It doesn't stop. Stabilize is very popular for shooting videos because the GPS is not trying to position this aircraft. Now the next mode, if we flip this switch down one time, we get to GPS mode. That is when the aircraft will stop whenever you center the stick. And if you haven't flown before, you probably want to fly in the GPS mode because that way, when you let go, the aircraft is going to stand still right there. But finally, And this is really cool. Notice here it says auto. So the next click down is you go from the hand controller to letting mission planner or a ground station fly the aircraft. So with this switch all the way down, your mission planner is flying. However, when you are ready to take over control, all you have to do is push it back up to GPS loiter, and now you are driving with the sticks here on the radio. So down, the ground station is flying, back up to loiter, and you and the GPS is flying. Of course, this is an APM system, so to arm it, we're pushing the throttle stick down and to the right. And to disarm it, we're pushing it down and to the left. And I'll turn the lights on the motors out. So finally, all the way over on the shoulder here, we have return to home. Click that down and it overrides all the other switches, and the aircraft is on its way back to you and it's going to land. So it's called return to land. I really like what 3DR has done. They separated this and they put the return to land, which really is an emergency operation. This is when you are no longer wanting to fly, you want the aircraft to take over and come home. That's when you go down and flip this down. Regardless what your other switches is, this should now take over and bring your aircraft back. So, put these all back in the up position. I wonder what kind of power this gets. Oh, well, alrighty. In here is a tray, an 8 AA battery tray. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not a big fan of battery operated radios just because we go through so many batteries and they seem to not last as long as a regular LiPo. But considering how much flight time I've gotten on a couple of my Spectrum radios that runs off AA batteries, I can't really argue with this choice. Real quick look on the back side here. What you see here is the transmitter. That is the 2.4 control system, and it also has, by the way, telemetry. This FR Sky has built-in telemetry, so if your battery is low, the radio can tell you about that. The telemetry goes back and forth using the 2.4 system. Let's put this away and get to the more interesting goodies here. Alrighty then, how am I going to get all this out? It basically looks like we have to, I can't get it up like that. Maybe if I do like that, here. Included here is a LiPo safe. That is for when you charge, you put the battery into this, and in case the battery catches on fire, this is gonna prevent the battery from catching fire to anything around it. It's a great little thing to include in a ready-to-fly kit. I really think everybody should be doing that. Let's put that over here. What are these boxes? Cutter. Woohoo! It's raining cables. Here is a USB plug, and what else have we got? The other thing here, here is a Ziploc bag with all of the Allen wrenches and a larger wrench required to set up the copter. So this is a great inclusion. This is the cool part right here. Let's get rid of this box. This is the ground station, the USB ground station. So you plug a USB cable into that, and that would likely be this little one we found right here. We plug these two together, and with the two of them together, you can now run and fly your multirotor from your laptop or from your ground station, such as an Android. Unfortunately, they do not yet have an iOS application for the Iris Plus. And here is some extra mounts. Let's put these over here and let's get to the main event. Sorry for the delay. There. Alrighty then. Here is the copter. I'm just going to put it on the table, and here is legs, extra legs for the copter, knife, all right, and here is a 3S 5100 battery. the yellow plug is almost becoming old-fashioned because most batteries in newer quads today are simply plug and play, just slide it in and the system goes on. That is different. This is an older battery style. However, the XT60 battery plugs is available on almost any battery you can buy on eBay or anywhere else, meaning it's easy and inexpensive to get replacement batteries. However, this is a great one. This is a 3S 5100 milliamps, and it's a really compact battery for that large capacity. So I would probably just buy a couple more of these. All right, and let's get out of the rest of this. Here is some, they really tuck these parts in well. What is this? I'm guessing not batteries, but some propellers. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, here you go. So we have some propellers right here, and I'm gonna take these and we're gonna talk about balance real quickly. But let me finish here because otherwise we'll never be done. We have a charger. Here is a brick of charger adapters. So this truly is an international product. You can plug this in and charge it in any country in the world. Finally, here is 8 AA batteries. So this is really much more ready to fly than I had anticipated. So far, I think we have everything we need to fly. Okay, and with that, let's take a real quick look at the aircraft itself. I love how nicely this is built, and if you notice, up on the end here, you can really see they put a step-by-step how to get started with it on the end. Here on the side, you see the telemetry antenna. That's a 950 megahertz that is used for the USB ground station right here. Now, one thing I find is it's really hard to get to these propellers. There's not a whole lot of space right here. So if you're gonna twist the motors or propeller onto the motor, it's gonna be a little hard to get to them. So, all right. Before you get going with propellers, you wanna just pull them out of the box, and obviously in the box here is a right and a left hand turning propeller. We're done with the box, so we'll toss that over there. I'll show you how you balance them, because you should never be flying. And what I did is I used gaff tape, which is my favorite thing, can hold all kinds of stuff together. And I'll show you how I do it. I just basically take a bit of gaff tape, and this is the stick for a Dupro balancer. The Dupro balancer is kind of the de facto standard for balancing. So I'm just gonna stick that right here, and what I do is, and you're gonna experiment with it a little bit and make sure you have the right amount. The gray tape I'm using is gaff tape, and it's not the most accurate. You could wind some just clear office tape around. That would probably wind tighter and more accurately. Now, finally, after I wound it to the right thickness, you'll see how the propeller is now sticking on here really well. So what that means is I can put it on. Whoa, look at that. That's certainly, and I have a couple of pieces of tape ready here. Let's see what we need. I don't think we need a whole lot. So what I usually do is put it right on the leading edge, and let's put it back down and see how it works. Whoa, it needs to go out further. So I'm just gonna move it a little out further on the blade. Well, you don't know this, but the air conditioner is messing with me. Basically what you need to do is move this piece of tape in and out until the propeller here is perfectly balanced. Once it's perfectly balanced, you wrap it around the front edge, leading edge of the propeller, and then you proceed to stand this on end, and you put a little piece of tape on either side of the hub and build up tape there until it also stands perfectly straight that direction. So having done this, we basically used the total standard Dupro balancer, which is an industry standard. Just get it on Amazon or from Frank at carolinadrones.com. The first thing you want to do is balance all your propellers so that when you go flying, both your flying propellers and the spare propellers should all be balanced so that you don't pick out an unbalanced propeller. Unbalanced propellers will cause yellow in your video, so make sure you spend a good amount of time getting perfectly balanced propellers. Let's take a look here. As this arrives, up on the front, you'll see a little attachment right here. This attachment is a standard GoPro attachment, so you can take a GoPro in its impact case and mount it right in front. I'll grab my GoPro, but you could mount it right here in front of the aircraft, and you'll be able to really see it and get a really nice shot. And one of the cool things here is that the geometry of this aircraft is so wide that when the GoPro comes here and the propellers comes out here, they're not really going to show up in your picture. So as far as I'm concerned, that is a very cool geometry. You can see how wide that is. Now, one thing to keep in mind, this is a really wide, and it comes balanced and tuned already from 3DR. So don't get too involved with doing auto tune on this unless you completely rebuilt this aircraft. Now, on the top here, it says the basic steps. You want to turn on the controller, that is the radio. Connect the charged battery after you turn on the controller. Place the iris level on the ground, and then press the safety button on top right here, and it's going to turn on. Now let's show where the battery goes. I don't know if you can see this, but this pops open right here, and I'm going to grab the battery and scoot that in right here. So these two gets connected, and the battery is then installed. Now I'm not going to connect them since we are inside, but I kind of wanted to see how that fits. Compartments, little closed compartments look so pretty, but they're always a little bit tight. All right, so the next thing here, notice the legs right here. This is some little stop legs that is perfectly fine if you hard mount a camera on front. And I like flying FPV with my goggles, so that's probably how I would fly this. Now let's move on and let's take a look at the longer legs. So I'm going to turn this upside down, and I'm going to start changing this. This is the little legs here. They're really kind of cool little legs. They're very strong. But what I really like about them is, okay, this one is mounted really well. I like that they are so modular. So if you break a leg, all you have to do is slide it off and put a fresh one on. So let's get some of these. There you go. Here is some legs, and we put black to black. And I think these are supposed to be pointing out. So we're gonna do it kind of like this. There, so one black. And another black, and here comes the blue. Personally, I would probably lean them in a little bit to get just a little bit smaller footprint, but considering I'm always the one complaining that quad manufacturers make teeny little footprints, this is brilliant. There is a long way between these feet. And what that means is when you land, even if you land a bit at an angle, this is going to land safely and stand in place. Like I said, the other great thing is, of course, that these things are so easy to replace. You just release the lock screw, slide it out, and put a spare leg on it. So this is very well thought out. They're very modular. On the bottom here, the other thing you see is the light. Right here, this is like navigation light. The black leg and the blue leg are gonna have different colors so that while you fly at night or in darkness, you can easily see the direction of the aircraft. You will also see at night the light on the backside, and also on the day. That's the light that tells you if it starts flashing really fast red, it's probably low on battery. So that's the one that gives you the information about the status of the quad, in addition to your potential to use the telemetry. And let's grab the gimbal. Lots of good stuff in here. Put that down there, put the knife here. And here is a standard mounting plate, but we're not going to be using that because one of the cool things is on the gimbal here, they actually supply the custom molded mounting plate so that it will fit directly on the bottom of the aircraft. Let's install this. And on the bottom of the aircraft, you see a sticker right here. This sticker tells you to be very careful not to lose these two. This is the pitch control and this is the power control. Now, if you're not going to install this gimbal, what you can do, according to the sticker, is to tuck it inside through the vent. However, we're going to leave it out so that we can fly with the gimbal. And we're going to grab the gimbal here. And this should be going forward. Oh, it just snaps right in place, and you can see the red cable goes to the red cable, and then the white and black cable for the pitch goes right up and controls here. We're going to need a couple of screws. Wow, they could not have found a smaller screw. So there we go. We are finding one of these. And personally, I usually attach gimbals with a piece of the black 3M double-sided tape because I have never had one fall off and it's a lot faster. But these two majorly big bolts are obviously going to do a fine job. Next, we're going to attach our GoPro right here. And I'm using my favorite little screwdrivers right here, and I'm sure most online stores that sells multi-rotor equipment has these available. Here, let's see. On the back of this, the way they want you to install this is they have this little thing that goes in front of the camera. I'm going to be perfectly honest, I hate these things with the screws. They are such a pain to get on and off. But we will demonstrate how it's done correctly. Now, here's the GoPro, and this thing then just comes over the top of the GoPro like this. See, that just fits right on. And the next thing we need to do is stick this right here. And grab the screw and tuck it right down there. I was looking because I thought I had a piece. What I usually use is I collect those big yellow rubber bands from the Postal Service. They're absolutely perfect because one or two of those wrapped around here real quickly will hold the GoPro in place perfectly. And finally, one more turn. I think it's evident why I do not like this. Now, all right, we have installed this, and here is the gimbal. One of the things, seriously, this is 2015 right now, and I'm looking at this thing. Why on earth would anybody include the standard gimbal to be a 2-axis gimbal? Well, we already discussed how to balance the propellers, and you can buy these awesome Dubro balancers from Frank at carolinadrones.com. I highly recommend them, and all it takes is a piece of tape to wrap it in place and you're ready to roll. Now, these things here, the props, you really want to prepare all of them. One of the props here is silver, and the top of these props are silver, and the other prop is black. So we're going to stick silver to silver. We're going to turn them opposite of their spinning or working direction until they come down. But what I don't like is it's very hard to get a good grip of that. So I'm going to use a little screwdriver, and I'm going to just stick it in here like that and give it a bit of a twist. There we go. I'm going to do that to all of these. I'm going to real quickly put the propellers on, because until we have propellers, we are obviously not ready to fly. One thing you want to keep in mind is with today's flight systems, let's see if I can get this out. With today's flight systems, the motor spins up, and these used to be what's called self-tightening propellers. However, in today's world, with this, also, the motors also has ESC braking. That means that the system can slow down the motor really quickly so that it has more power to stay stable in the air. Because of that, when you put the propellers on, you want to make sure you kind of use a flat screwdriver or something, and you shouldn't be trying to break the bloody thing, but just give it just like a little tug so you know they really are in place, because you really don't want, if it's a rough weather you're flying in, you really don't want the props to all of a sudden come flying off the aircraft. So now we're pretty much ready. I have installed the GoPro. Now, if you're gonna fly, like I always love to fly FPV, that's usually how I fly everything. You will need to use this space down here on the bottom, and you can put an Immersion RC 600 milliwatt 5.8 transmitter right here. And they also have a GoPro specific cable, and that cable plugs into the GoPro down to the transmitter. And then all you need is to make a Y adapter here, so you split the power. Now there is another way. If you're not looking for the super high-end GoPro, like a GoPro 4 Black, you could use one of the iLock Plus cameras. It looks exactly like a GoPro. I call it a GoPro form factor. What is unique about that camera is it fits into the same hole that was made for a GoPro. It even weighs the same amount as a GoPro. On the end of it right here, you will see that it comes with a radio antenna. And you can literally, I don't know if I can pull that off while I'm talking. And if you keep going, eventually it's going to take, they actually include a little wrench in the kit, but you twist that on and you simply power the camera, and now you also have a video transmitter, so you don't have to mount an additional transmitter. This will mount directly in the same gimbal that the GoPro mounts in. That's another option. Now, it doesn't have the quality of a GoPro, but it is also only $200. And you have to set it to either do video, which is pretty nice 1080p, or still pictures that you can trip from remotely. However, I usually always set these things to 1080p, and I just give it a long push to start recording, and then I fly the entire flight, and then when I land, give it another push to turn it off. Let's see, now once you have a transmitter on here, we need to see it, and I usually use my Fat Sharks. But you can also buy, I know Frank and pretty much everybody out there these days sells things like this. It's a little receiver, little monitor. It has an antenna built in, it has a battery built into itself, and it even have a little SD card over here. So all you do is turn it on, and then you start toggling through the frequency switches up on top here until you find the frequency that you get a clear picture. That's really all you need. I like these sizes here. I don't use them myself, but they're brilliant. I have a couple of them, and I can hand them off to somebody that just kind of want to watch what the video we're shooting is, and maybe talking to me about if they want a little right, a little left. So these are brilliant. They're little screens with built-in receivers. And if you're not used to flying, where did the radio go? If you don't fly goggles, you can buy a little adapter, and you can mount that right up here, so that while you're flying, you can see this. And the last item we need to take a quick look at before I let you go, or rather before I can go out and test fly this. Woohoo! This is the Sky RC. I think, yeah, Sky RC is what it's called. It's a very standard, the same charger was used on the Phantom 1. It's used by so many different products, and it's a very reliable charger, so nothing wrong with it. It's not super powerful, so if you want to charge fast, get something bigger. It has a little, has a warning. Basically, you need to plug the cable into the back, and right here you peel this off, and it says, never ever use unsupervised. Remember, put the battery in the included LiPo guard. Now, there's a little cable included, and we're going to put it red to red, black to black, and now all we have to do is grab the battery out of here. See, there is a yellow and a white. The white is the 3S plug, and it goes right into here like that in the middle position. It should be in the middle. Let's try that again. There. The other thing you do then is you take the cable, you plug that into here, and you're in business. Now you're basically charging. You need to be plugged into the wall, of course. Make sure that these two switches down here should be set to LiPo and the other one to 3 amps, because you have a big battery to charge here. So this should start turning red up on top, and when it's all done, you will see a green light right here. So that's all you need to know. I am gonna go and plug this in, and as soon as I have a charged battery, I'm gonna take this flying. I have heard a lot of good things about this, and I really want to take it flying. I do think the 2-axis gimbal is maybe a little lame in 2015. However, it's a carrot. It's interesting that 3DR have distanced themselves from the quality of the gimbal. They are using an other brand gimbal. So they're not actually, it's not the quality or the performance of the gimbal is not really their problem. And that's an interesting little twist. So here it is, basically. We have this gimbal on. It is the 3DR gimbal mount, but there's nothing that's keeping you from buying a Terra 3-axis gimbal or any other 3-axis gimbal you may want to go flying with. So that's the thing. All of this was in the kit. The radio, the unit, the battery, the charger, and the 2-axis, which I think it should be a 3-axis, but a 2-axis gimbal. And we're basically ready to go shoot some video. So let's get this charged, and in the next video, we'll take a look at how this is flying.